December 30th, 2025, and WWE just broadcast a tag team match so chaotic, so violent, so completely unhinged that calling it a wrestling match feels like a fundamental misunderstanding of what we actually witnessed. For men. For massive egos. For separate wars all colliding in one ring with a tag team structure that was supposed to create order, but instead became the framework for absolute pandemonium. Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. Two people who have zero alliance history and every reason to distrust each other, forced to work together against Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Two people who also have no natural partnership and whose combined arrogance probably exceeds the entire Raw roster's collective ego. This wasn't a tag team match. This was four individual conflicts happening simultaneously within the loose structure of tag rules that everyone ignored whenever convenient. And here's the detail that should make your pulse quicken with anticipation. This match never finished. It descended into chaos so complete that WWE couldn't even pretend to contain it within wrestling match structure. And what happened in the aftermath has created Royal Rumble implications that make every other storyline look simple by comparison. The match was announced just hours before Raw went live, Adam Pearce looking increasingly haggard as he makes impossible booking decisions trying to manage the chaos-consuming WWE. Due to the complexity of current storylines and the need to establish positioning heading into Royal Rumble, Pearce explained with the exhaustion of someone who's given up on things making sense. Tonight's main event will be Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker versus Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Winners receive advantageous Royal Rumble entry numbers. And before anyone asks, yes, I understand these teams make no logical sense. No, I don't care. Figure it out in the ring. The brutal honesty was refreshing and terrifying. WWE's own general manager admitting the booking makes no sense and forcing performers to navigate impossible alliances for the entertainment of creating chaos. It's either genius meta-commentary on wrestling's inherent absurdity or complete creative bankruptcy, depending on your perspective. Seth Rollins entered first, and his expression showed someone calculating odds, processing variables, trying to determine how to work with Bron Breakker, a person he's actively feuding with through the Vision connection, against Roman Reigns, his former Shield brother turned bitter enemy. Seth grabbed a microphone before his partner even arrived, unable to resist addressing the elephant in the room. I know what everyone's thinking. How do Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker possibly function as a team when I've been trying to destroy the Vision and everything Bron represents? Simple answer, we don't. This isn't about alliance or partnership or trust. This is about two people who independently want to destroy Roman Reigns and CM Punk getting a legitimate opportunity to do exactly that. After we win tonight, after we eliminate them at Royal Rumble, then Bron and I can settle our business. But right now? Enemy of my enemy isn't exactly my friend, but he's the guy standing beside me when the bell rings, and that's going to have to be enough. Bron Breakker's entrance was all business. The former world heavyweight champion who'd been medically held from defending his title earlier in the week now looking fully healthy and absolutely furious about losing his championship without being pinned or submitted. He entered the ring and stood beside Seth without acknowledgement or greeting, both men maintaining physical distance that made clear this was temporary alliance born of necessity rather than any genuine partnership. Roman Reigns' music hit, and the tribal chief walked to the ring with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu flanking him, the new bloodline that had betrayed and replaced him. Except now they were back working together because Rikishi's medical crisis had temporarily united the family in ways storyline never could. Roman looked different tonight, carrying weight that went beyond character work. His uncle was in a hospital, his family was in genuine crisis, and he was being asked to perform a wrestling match while processing real-life trauma. The professionalism it takes to compartmentalize that and still deliver a performance is staggering. CM Punk's entrance generated nuclear heat from a crowd that had watched him get destroyed by Bronson Reed earlier in the week. Punk moved carefully, his ribs heavily taped from Reed's assault, clearly not at 100%, but here anyway because championship contenders don't get to take time off when their pride demands revenge and their positioning requires presence. Punk joined Roman on the apron, and the two made eye contact in a moment that communicated mutual respect, mixed with absolute certainty that their alliance was purely transactional and temporary. The bell rang and Seth started for his team against CM Punk, creating an immediate dynamic of two of the most cerebral performers in WWE history trying to outwit each other. The opening sequences were technical excellence, holds and counters, and psychology that told stories within the larger narrative. But everyone was waiting for the moment when things would inevitably break down, when the tensions within each team and between all four individuals would overwhelm the tag team structure. That moment came faster than anyone expected. Roman blind tagged himself in while Punk was in control, immediately creating visible tension between the partners. Roman didn't need Punk's permission, didn't care about strategy or coordination. The tribal chief wanted in the ring with Seth Rollins. Wanted to hurt his former Shield brother in ways that had nothing to do with this specific match, and everything to do with years of accumulated resentment. Roman and Seth locked eyes across the ring, and the energy shifted instantly. This wasn't tag team wrestling anymore. This was personal vendetta happening within tag match structure. They charged at each other with strikes that carried genuine force, both men abandoning wrestling psychology in favor of just hitting each other as hard as possible. The Superman punch from Roman. The super kick from Seth. Back and forth escalation that had the crowd absolutely losing their minds. Bron Breakker blind tagged himself in, forcing Seth out and immediately going after Roman with the same aggressive energy. Breakker wanted revenge for their controversial spear versus spear matches, wanted to prove he could beat Roman cleanly without distractions or complications. The two powerhouses collided with impact that shook the ring, both demonstrating that pride matters more than tag team strategy when your reputation is on the line. CM Punk, frustrated at being sidelined by Roman's ego, shouted at his partner to tag him back in. Roman ignored him, too focused on destroying Breakker to care about partnership or strategy. The dysfunction was immediately apparent. These teams couldn't function cohesively because every individual had their own agenda that superseded any temporary alliance. Around the 8-minute mark, the match's structure completely collapsed. All four men were in the ring simultaneously, the referee having lost all control, everyone just fighting everyone with no regard for tags or legal participants. Seth was fighting Roman because of their Shield history. Bron was fighting Punk because Punk had dismissed him as unworthy. Roman was fighting both opponents because the tribal chief doesn't discriminate in his dominance. And Punk was fighting everyone because his ego couldn't handle being anything less than the center of attention. Then Dean Ambrose's music hit, and the chaos multiplied exponentially. Dean appeared on the entrance ramp with that dangerous smile, surveying the carnage in the ring with satisfaction. He had a microphone, and his words were addressed to Roman specifically. "Having fun, Roman? Enjoying your little tag team match while your family's in crisis? Funny how quickly you can turn off the concern and get back to performing when the spotlight's available. That's what I've been trying to tell everyone. Roman Reigns cares about Roman Reigns first, family second, everyone else never. Even with your uncle in the hospital, even with genuine tragedy hanging over the Anoa'i family, you couldn't resist showing up and being the tribal chief because the attention matters more than anything else." The words were designed to hurt psychologically, attacking Roman in ways physical offense never could. And they landed. You could see it in Roman's expression, the visible hurt mixing with rage at Dean weaponizing family tragedy for storyline purposes. Roman exited the ring and started walking toward Dean, abandoning the match entirely, his priorities shifting from winning to destroying the person who'd just crossed the most sacred line possible. Seth tried to stop Roman, grabbing his arm, trying to refocus him on the match. Roman shoved Seth away violently, making clear that nobody was going to prevent him from getting to Dean. And that's when the brawl expanded beyond the ring into a full-scale riot involving everyone. Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu charged from their position at ringside, going after Dean to protect Roman. The Usos appeared from backstage, Jimmy and Jay, fresh from the hospital where their father was in intensive care, drawn back to WWE by family duty despite personal crisis. Tyler Black emerged from the crowd, unable to resist inserting himself into bloodline chaos because his family drama is forever entangled with theirs. Bronson Reed, the current world heavyweight champion who destroyed Punk earlier in the week, walked down the ramp carrying his championship like a weapon. Drew McIntyre, the undisputed champion with his own controversial reign, appeared to observe the chaos and protect his positioning. Paul Heyman was shouting instructions that nobody was following. Security flooded the area and immediately became irrelevant. The ring, the ringside area, the entrance ramp, the crowd barricades, everywhere you looked, WWE's biggest stars were fighting with intensity that went beyond performance and entered genuine aggression. This wasn't a worked brawl designed for camera angles. This was barely controlled chaos where real tensions were being expressed through wrestling violence. The visual that will define this moment: Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, former Shield brothers, fighting each other with Seth Rollins trying desperately to separate them, creating a tragic tableau of brotherhood destroyed beyond any easy repair. Everything else happening around them, the bloodline factions warring, the champions protecting their titles, CM Punk and Bron Breakker continuing their fight despite the match being long forgotten. All of it was context for the central emotional conflict of the Shield tearing itself apart. Adam Pearce appeared with what seemed like every official and security member WWE employs, shouting for order that nobody was providing. "Stop. Everyone stop right now." His voice carried genuine authority mixed with desperation. When people finally slowed down enough to listen, Pearce continued, "Clearly, this match is over. Clearly, nobody can function professionally right now. So here's what's happening at Royal Rumble, and this is final. No more changes, no more complications. Before the 30-person Royal Rumble match, we're having 3 separate matches to settle the grudges that are destroying WWE's ability to function." The announcement made everyone stop fighting and pay attention. 3 matches before the Rumble meant 3 opportunities for definitive resolution before the chaos of 30 people in one ring. Match 1, Roman Reigns vs. Dean Ambrose. No bloodline interference, no Shield involvement, just the two of you settling years of accumulated resentment. Match 2, Drew McIntyre vs. Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. Cody gets his rematch with proper conditions and no suspicious finishes. Match 3, Bronson Reed vs. CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. Punk gets revenge opportunity against the man who destroyed him. Reed gets to prove his victory wasn't a fluke. The stipulations meant Royal Rumble would feature 3 major singles matches before the Rumble itself, creating a show so packed with high-stakes competition that the Rumble match itself might be overshadowed by everything happening before it. And everyone involved understood that these matches would determine positioning, momentum, and psychological advantage heading into the 30-person chaos. Pearce wasn't finished. And the Royal Rumble match itself? Everyone currently in this brawl is entered. Roman, Dean, Seth, Punk, Bron, Solo, Jacob, Jimmy, Jay, Tyler, Drew, Bronson, all of you. Plus 18 more competitors to be announced. 30 people total. Whoever wins gets to main event WrestleMania for either championship. No more controversial finishes. No more ambiguity. One winner, one WrestleMania main event. Final answer. The announcement positioned Royal Rumble as the resolution point for every major storyline, the event where accumulated chaos would finally be channeled into definitive outcomes. But it also guaranteed that the chaos would escalate before any resolution, that the 3 singles matches would create new tensions and complications that would then explode during the Rumble match itself. As Raw went off the air with this image of complete chaos. Bodies everywhere, everyone breathing heavy from the brawl, Adam Pearce standing in the center trying to maintain some illusion of order. The wrestling world understood that Royal Rumble 2025 would be unlike anything WWE had ever attempted. 3 major championship/grudge matches followed by a 30-person Rumble featuring everyone who'd just been brawling, all crammed into one show, all carrying years of storyline weight and real emotional investment. December 30th, 2025. The night a tag team match became a riot. The night WWE gave up on containing chaos and decided to lean into it completely. The night Royal Rumble transformed from big show into potentially the most important single event in modern wrestling history. Roman versus Dean before the Rumble. Drew versus Cody for the undisputed championship. Bronson versus Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. Then 30 people, including all of them in one ring, fighting for WrestleMania positioning. For weeks to process what we just witnessed. For weeks to prepare for 3 matches that will settle years of storylines. For weeks until the Royal Rumble either provides cathartic resolution or creates even more chaos. The madness has reached critical mass. The explosion is coming. And absolutely nobody knows who survives the fallout. Welcome to the most unpredictable, most chaotic, most emotionally devastating road to WrestleMania in WWE history. Buckle up. Because this is only going to get worse before it gets better. If it ever gets better at all.